Currently, there's something called a digital transformation, and digital transforming is just upgrading and optimizing your software. You have two options of digital transformation. You have the internal and you have the external. In the previous years, internal was the way to go. You build an internal system that's good for a department and try to coordinate between many various different departments, different engineers, with everybody doing a different part for their specific goals and needs without coordinating or thinking interoperability between all the different departments and all the different needs and goals that you're trying to accomplish. Along came a company called Palantir, offering you something called Palantir Foundry in coordination with other products called Palantir Apollo and Palantir Edge. This digital transformation right now just got a whole lot easier. And not only are companies using it, governments are using it too. This digital transformation is the ability to allow you to coordinate all your different agencies and all your different subsets of agencies across your entire country with various different people, various different directors, and various different goals, problems, and solutions, not only present, but also preemptively for the future. And this is why Palantir is able to excel so much more than other companies. In the future, there's probably going to be Palantir and there's going to be the cloud companies. Those are going to be the two operating systems, the software systems in the future. Palantir gives you the ability to decentralize as opposed to centralize your system. Currently, I want to talk a little bit about Europe and Palantir's ability to get into Europe and stay in Europe. Palantir is broken down into three essential parts. The first part is commercial contracts. 2/3 is broken down into government contracts. Of the 2/3, half is military contracts and half is regular government contracts, like infrastructure and things like that. So 1/3 commercial, 1/3 military, 1/3 government infrastructure. I give a lot of credit to people on Twitter and social media because these people allow me and other YouTubers to get a lot of valuable information. A lot of times the information that we get is either not on the internet because they do such amazing detective work, or the information that we get is days, weeks, and even months in advance of the regular media covering the information because we have such good dedicated detectives in the Palantir community. Today, I want to give credit to Ether Square. Definitely give him a follow. He is a community leader, just like Reiku. Guys are freaking amazing. And he finds these links, these really, really cool links. And by finding these links, these are logins, you see right here, levelingup.palantirfoundry.co.uk. So when you're using Palantir Foundry, you get a sign-on. Sometimes the sign-on is really unique for what you're doing. Sometimes the sign-on is coded so that people can't figure out who you are. But our detective work is phenomenal and we figure it out regardless. Anyways, as you can see right now, there is a sign up called levelingup.palantirfoundry.co.uk. It's right there. You guys can copy and paste it and you guys can play with it yourself. If you go to the first page, Ether Square says, this is levelingup.campaign.gov.uk. It says, we are fortunate to live in one of the most dynamic, diverse, free, and successful countries in the world. But the success is not being shared fairly across the whole of the United Kingdom. The changing as we allocate the first round of our £4.8 billion Leveling Up Fund to regenerate projects across the UK, investing billions in our railways, rolling out next generation gigabit broadband, and moving more government functions and civil servants out of London as part of the investment across the country. Leveling up in action, but it's clear we must do more to make opportunity fairer. Our Leveling Up white paper is a plan that's clear, measurable, deliverable to create opportunities wherever you are. And this seems like a Build It Back Better, right? And he says the UK government recently launched an initiative called Leveling Up with a £4.8 billion, which is a $5.9 billion US budget. They aim to modernize railroads, internet access to everyone. I assume it's a British version of the US infrastructure plan. And then he's able to find these links. It's very important to be able to find these links and coordinate Palantir to certain companies, certain governments, and certain entities, specifically the UK government. Why specifically the UK government? We know that Palantir is moving into Europe, and this is a large total addressable market. This exponentially grows Palantir's business. But not only the military business, because right now we know we're getting a bunch of contracts from the invasion of Ukraine, but also regular government contracts or non-military government contracts. And the ability to find these contracts before it's in the news is our strength as shareholders and our strength as investors in Palantir. Because if you can figure something out before it hits the market, this is where your power comes. So a lot of people don't know what Palantir does. A lot of people don't realize how massive Palantir is. And a lot of people don't realize that Palantir, once they start working with a company, they expand exponentially. We know that they're working with the NHS. They're about to increase their contract with the NHS. So they had a £23 million contract before with the NHS for PPP rollout as well as vaccine rollout. And now NHS wants to modernize their entire system, first starting with NHS England and hopefully expanding to NHS UK. NHS England is, of course, the biggest of the NHSs. They have the biggest region, but there's also an opportunity to grow into NHS UK, which is also going to give us a larger contract. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people know that we're trying to get this NHS contract that can be possibly worth a 10-year, over $1 billion contract. And I did the math about this before. If you take the $1 billion contract, that's going to give us approximately $300 million in revenue. If you take the $300 million in revenue and you divide it over 10 years, that's going to bring us approximately $30 million a year to our bottom line if we're doing that 30% margin that we get approximately. So it's a massive contract. And now you're seeing that UK is possibly expanding their partnership, most likely as Palantir is the front runner with this new NHS contract. You see that Palantir is getting this leveling up contract. And Palantir moved their office from the United States, their UK office, right? Their UK branch office from the US to UK, which makes sense, right? You would think about it. And they had 250 employees. Now they have 350 employees in the UK, and they want to go up to 600 employees in the UK. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I was listening to Coach Shrep talking to Farad on Tom Nash's show yesterday, and he was talking about this digital transformation, where essentially you're leveling up your software. And he was talking about most people used to do this internally, but now you have an external option, and that's why Palantir is going to take over in the future. And it's pretty evident how Palantir is able to work with governments, and we see proof of how they're able to work with governments because of amazing people like Ether Square and other people from the Palantir community. Now, a lot of haters are going to say, Adam, you're full of ish. Palantir doesn't do anything, blah, 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 blah. And they're going to compare Palantir to a lot of other companies. Like yesterday, somebody compared Palantir to Nikola. Well, Nikola never actually had government contracts. Nikola didn't work with U.S. government and U.S. government allies. It's pretty silly how people think about Palantir without doing their research and literally understanding what Palantir does. And I get it. It's hard to understand what Palantir does, including for a lot of viewers that are watching this channel right now, and including for me. I do have a grasp of what Palantir does. I would say that I still don't know 100% what Palantir does because I'm learning, but my not 100% is probably a lot more than most people out there. So you got to keep learning about the investments that you're doing. But it's evident, the information is in front of you. The proof is in the pudding. We're getting contracts in Europe. We are growing in Europe. And it's not just the UK. Luxembourg just announced that they're going to be modernizing their army. Everything is going to be data, surveillance, cyber. The article came out the other day. I'll probably make a video about this next week. We know that Germany is increasing their spending, their GDP contribution to NATO. We also know that they're upgrading their entire military, 100 billion euro upgrade to their military. We also know Spain is going to contribute 2% GDP to NATO. And there's other countries across Europe, other countries in the European Union, other countries in NATO that are doing similar suit. A lot of this money is going to be going into Palantir. Why? The US has a really, really large reach when it comes to Europe. The US has a huge say to what happens, and they're always backed up by the UK. Whether you agree with this or you don't agree with this is kind of how it works. And Palantir is working very hard to be the first software prime and the sixth prime of the United States Department of Defense. And if they could do this, which I believe they will be doing this, most of these contracts are going to be funneling in through Palantir. The age of might is right type of military, it's still here, but it's evolving to now data is might. The new bullets, as per Bank of America, is no longer physical bullets. The new bullets, the new ammunition of war is data. Now, this is not me saying this. This is the Bank of America analyst who said it the other day during his interview. It's funny how a lot of these analysts, a lot of these experts, and shout out to them because we definitely need the eyes and the ears on Palantir. But it's funny that a lot of them say these things after we've been saying it for months. So it takes a while for mainstream media to catch up to everything we're saying. I promise you, screenshot this. Within the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to be hearing about this leveling up. The only thing that can be wrong with the statement that I just said right now in mainstream media, they're going to maybe bring this up in 3 months instead of 6 to 12. It's going to be hilarious. You guys are going to be like, wow, Adam was right. Nobody covers Palantir until they do. But when they actually start covering Palantir, that's when it's going to be too late to buy into Palantir because the price is already going to start moving up. And that FOMO, that fear of missing out, is super vicious. It's absolutely vicious. It's like gravity upside down because it goes straight up. Guys, thank you so much. Please give me the like, shares, and subscribe. I have 922 subscribers. I really need another 78 subscribers to get monetized. Please, if you find it in your heart, subscribe to my channel if you're feeling this type of content. Thank you so much. And again, shout out to the Twitter community for Palantir. Shout out to Reiku. Shout out to Ether Squared. You guys helped me out a lot. Thank you so much. Have a great day.